Damn.
Woo-hoo.
Best theme song in the business.
Oh, snap, crackle, and pop. Oh man, welcome in, guys. Welcome into the stream. Yeah, we got Eli on the other side, who evidently just happens to just freeze up at midpoint, and yeah,
My my
crazy,
my
crazy.
my demise was greatly exaggerated, Jay. I'm back. I'm back from the dead. What? Hey, people were like, oh, they probably hate me. They're like, oh, where's Donovan at? Nope, nope. We're back. We're back. Back and better than ever. Let's christen off the new year because I think this is the first time I've appeared in 2023. Let's get this started, right, boys? Knob Creek
Yes,
Rye Whiskey. I heard, yeah. You got the Wendy's cup there. Beautiful,
yes, I do.
beautiful.
Sunburst melon. It's actually pretty tasty. It's not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Smells good. I was gonna say when I'm up there again, man, we should mix it with something.
Yeah, it should.
We tried some pitch black not too long ago.
Yes,
Mixed that with a few things. That was pretty tasty as
yeah,
well.
we did a little moonshine whiskey, and with a little tequila up in there, which was not bad. Oh, actually, we did the Don Julio tequila in there. That was
Don Julio
yes,
Tequila.
yes. So Donovan, I know you're gonna be listening a little bit later on, but yes, we mixed a little bit of pitch black and a little bit of a shot, which wasn't too bad at all.
So damn good, Donovan. You got to try it too, man.
So me and Eli did a little. We did well. Happy belated birthday! So everybody knows it was Eli's birthday on Friday. So he's 40 he's
Thanks, buddy.
46 years old now. No, I'm just kidding. But no, no. Me and Eli, we were just kind of Eli was on hiatus. Maybe I kind of got a little boot in his ass to kind of get him motivated again a little bit.
You did.
So I
You
mean,
did.
you know, we just did some talking. We just, Eli wants to put on a good show when he's here and whatnot, which is understandable. So it's just one of those things we want to put out good content for you guys. So Eli is available for he's a busy person, so he just wants to put on a good quality show when he's here for his one show, and me and Donovan will kind of fill in some other stuff too as well. So if Eli wants to pop on, he's more than welcome to jump on in with us too. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for the time being, yeah, it'll probably just be a weekly appearance until I can kind of get a few things situated. So you'll get me on Tuesdays. You'll get me on Tuesdays, and maybe a little bit of Donovan, maybe Sundays or
yeah, I'm not
another
sure yet.
time. But
Yeah,
whatever him and Jay want to do. So we'll keep everybody engaged and updated. And there's that beautiful ticker. There's a lot of news going on. I'm back. Tag team back again. We're like the Hart Foundation.
yep.
Jumping off the middle rope, dropping the elbow.
For sure, for
Oh
sure.
man.
Before we get too far, make sure you join our Discord. Our like I mentioned in last Sunday's episode or our stream. Our Discord is a little laggy a little bit, but we need people to get up in there. We want people to get involved. The off season might be off. With the NFL, but there's still a lot of stuff to talk about. I was out. We got we actually got the college. What's it? The Reese's, whatever the heck it is with um, college football. They got the Senior Bowl or whatever heck they call it for all the seniors like coming into the next year's draft. I think that's
Saturday.
Saturday. Yep, Saturday.
Saturday.
So
1:30 our time, Jay. You. I
yep,
know. I know. We'll be
I'm
watching.
gonna be. Yep,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna be watching that for sure. But so I want people to get into our Discord. We got. I got a little spot for to draft prep. For anybody want to talk about Bijan Johnson, or Robinson, whatever his name is. Sorry, I burped. Sorry, guys. So I got NFL stuff up in there. I got little baseball. Not too heavy at baseball, but we're kind of heavy football guys over here. Donovan will kind of fill in with some of that baseball stuff a little bit, but yeah, we want people to join our Discord. We want people talking up in there. So our Discord is actually free. There's no fee or nothing. Just a good place for everybody to come in and just bullshit, have fun, talk prospects, football, dynasty, or whatever you feel like talking about. We got a little spring. We actually got some spring. I got a little channel for or spring football too. So if you're into the XFL, AFL,
It's
USFL, whatever the
coming.
hell it is, yep, it's
It's
coming.
coming, baby.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
man. I'm
But
looking forward to that launch. I know they tried a couple times, under Vince McMahon, and he kind of shit the bed the first time. Second time, COVID happened, but the Rock doesn't fail. You know what I mean? I trust the Rock and his people that this is going to be a success. I don't think this is going to be the AAF. I don't think it's going to be any of that nonsense. I think it's going to be a quality league to add some. It's Jared.
yeah.
Speaking of quality leagues, Jared's here. Oh,
Yes.
putting the band. We're putting the band back together. We're putting Jared, Donovan. Hopefully, my brother pops in here.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, for
Great.
sure. Yeah, Jared popped in a little bit on Sunday a little bit. He popped in, he chimed in with us for a little bit. He was busy too, so that was nice of Jared to pop in.
Good.
Yes, it is. But other than that, we got to get into our next big thing here. I mean, that's huge. That is huge right there. Boom. I can't believe that. Denver signs Sean Payton. Denver gives up a first and a 2024 second, and then the Saints send back a 24 third to Denver. Man, that's insane.
Dude, I saw that news today, and I'm like, they've kind of been flirting with a couple people. I know D'Amico Ryans, who ended up taking the Texans job. Jim Harbaugh from Michigan. There's a couple names out there, but I think ultimately it came down to a money decision. From kind of the vibe I got is like, hey, we're going to set the new market. And Sean Payton, he's entitled. The guy was a great coach, probably the best coach the Saints had ever had. He's won respect. Great offensive mind. I would have price gouged them too. He's probably going to be making probably $25 million a year, man. I mean, that's unheard of for a coach. But hey, man, it's America. It's capitalism, baby. If you can get it, you gets it. As for Denver, I mean, we don't know if Russ is shot. I know Javonte Williams is going to be back next year. Maybe he can kind of fix things with a few of the receivers. I know Jerry Jeudy was unhappy. That really good defense. So, it'll be interesting to see, kind of how long it takes Sean Payton, because we know Sean Payton's great. He'll fix things. It's just how long is it going to take? Is it going to be a 2-year thing? Is it going to be next year that they're back in the playoffs? Because that's a damn tough division. Chargers are a playoff team. Chiefs, perennial Super Bowl contenders. Raiders, they're respectable. So that's a very tough division. But yeah, no, I think it was a money grab. If I'm being honest with you, man, I think this is all about money. That's why he didn't take care. That's why he didn't take the Carolina job. It's why he didn't stay at Fox. I think it was a strictly money thing. But I think it benefits Russ. I think it benefits Russ, the receivers, running back. In terms of how we can relate it to fantasy. I think it's going to help the whole Broncos offense because you can only go up from there. That offense was terrible.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you too there. I mean, and I'm hoping they should get back Tim Patrick. I mean, I was talking me and Donovan were talking about that a little bit. So I mean, he's a great number 3 guy. I actually have in a dynasty last year and got injured pretty early in the season, which kind of sucked. It was a very toss up because everybody was conflicted with either is it going to be Sutton or is it going to be Jeudy. And so I mean, and Jeudy was the one that actually came out on top. Sutton ended up being kind of the second guy in that offense.
Yeah, and Patrick's back. Cortland Sutton was beat up a little bit. Like I said, Jeudy was unhappy. I think to use a term from my beloved Buccaneers, a pirate term. I think there was a mutiny. I think they took the Hackett man. That's what I call him. I call him the Hackett man. And there was a mutiny, and the team was like, "Fuck this guy," and they were just out. Because Denver's not this bad. I mean, they've got some players. They're not a 4-win. They're better than that. They're better than a 4-win team. They looked awful at times, and the games they did win, they won by like a point, or they just a terrible season. And I liked, obviously I love the hire. I mean, I saw Sean Payton. He tortured me for years in the NFC South, so I love the hire. Did you see any of the DeMeco Ryans with the Texans? What do you think about that? I don't know, dude. I don't know if I don't agree. Just 1 second, but I don't agree with hiring a defensive coach unless it's a all-time, like big presence guy. If it's a Belichick, Mike Tomlin, Pete Carroll, that level of, where he commands the locker room and he just, it's a veteran coach. I don't think you can bring in a new defensive coach and be successful. Not with how valuable these quarterbacks are now. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it. I think it's a bad hire. I know he was a great D coordinator with the 49ers, but I don't think it's a good hire.
Yeah, and that's a bad thing. And if you think about it, with a lot of these coaches that end up being a lot of coaches that are defensive and defense style, they usually lack more of the offense compared to a lot of more of the they end up beefing up their defense more than the offense most of the time is usually what happens.
Yeah.
So I mean, you get something like that in there, and you never know. No, you never know either too when it comes to that. I didn't dig too much into what the Texans gave up for signing him or whatever, so that part I wasn't quite sure on. I just know that Denver's got only 6 picks for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I don't think they had to give up any draft capital. Luckily, not everybody's in the predicament the Broncos are in. So, Texans. If I'm in the AFC South, honestly, I'm salivating. If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm looking around at me. I'm like the Titans can't get it. They can't get quarterback right. Vrabel I think is a damn good coach, but it's like they can't. They have a certain ceiling. The Colts are dysfunctional. The Texans are dysfunctional. If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm like, I own this god division for the next year. I'm gonna tear this division a new asshole. That's exactly what he's got to be thinking. Like, wow, another bad defensive hire. I mean, how'd that work out for the Texans the last 2 years? David Culley and my boy Lovie Smith. Just more stupidity. Just more stupidity. There's coaches everywhere. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, most definitely. It's with Denver just giving up what they, I mean, they probably could have added some more guys to their, offense this year, or help beef up their offensive line a little bit so that Russ can actually do what he needs to do. I mean, I guess overall, I mean, if you think about it, Denver, if Payton didn't think Denver was a good landing spot, with, Wilson, he probably wouldn't even have gone there. He probably would have stayed out for another whole year or so and see what happened. But, I guess he did what he needed to do, and he ended up, signing with the Denver Broncos, which is huge for Denver. Maybe this will turn them around for next year. Maybe Russ ends up being in the top 10 a little bit. It's hard saying. We'll have to kind of see with all that stuff coming in. But to elaborate, the Titans, yeah, they were that, that alpha dog in that division. With that, Colts, they're mediocre, and then with yeah, and then with Jaguars kind of coming up in there, it's very possible it could be a Jaguars Titans kind of rivalry in that division, going forward. So the way I see it, anyways. But
yeah. Colts have a meddling owner. Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it, Eric. Jim Irsay is a moron. He's a dummy. You hear me?
Yep.
You know what he's doing? He let Frank Reich just waltz on over to the Panthers. Just watch. He'll fix if they get a quarterback down in Carolina. That was another hire too. That I don't know. You probably mentioned that on Sunday. I caught little bits of your guys' show. When I was reviewing it, but,
I don't think we did. Oh, I think I might have mentioned Frank White. I think I
Okay.
might have brought it up. I'm sure, but I don't remember offhand. Yeah,
I think it's a great hire. I don't know if you're as high on Frank Reich as I am. I think it's a great hire. I think he was a damn good coach. I mean, the Colt who the hell other than Peyton Manning won there? I mean, really, like long sustained winning. I mean, they're a dysfunctional organization. Ursay's a moron. Yeah, just like no, Jerry Jones is meddling too, but almost in a charming, good way. I mean, Ursay is just an idiot. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's impulsive and just lets Frank Reich go out the door. Probably wants to hire Jeff Saturday, which is ridiculous. Jeff Saturday won one game when he was coaching, and it was a gimmicky win against the Raiders. Like, guy was terrible. So yeah, no, I think Frank Reich with the Panthers, especially with the decline that the Bucs are probably going to be facing with Brady leaving and Byron Leftwich getting fired. Saints are in influx right now. You don't know what's going to happen with them. Falcons are rebuilding. I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't see why the Panthers couldn't go in if they get a quarterback, get a Garoppolo, Derek Carr, they trade for somebody. I don't see why they couldn't win our division next year. I don't see why the Panthers couldn't be with as good as they played. They went 6-6 under Steve Wilkes, which is respectable. I mean, if he had started the year as head coach, probably would have beat us out. They probably would have won 9 games. So.
most definitely. But I don't know. I guess with it kind of put a sour taste in my mouth with Frank Wright being down there with being with the Colts. The Colts. They could be a better team if they wanted. I mean, they had the talent around them. They had the wide receiver core that was decent enough. It's sad that they actually ended up losing one of their main running backs. They did. They trade off my knee. Hines for Zach Moss. That was kind of a flop deal there. I think both those running backs were pretty much in the same boat. They were pretty much average running backs. They weren't the showstoppers. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. I mean, yes, I kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. So that's like, well, we'll see what he does in down there in the Carolinas. If he makes Panthers irrelevant, then awesome, man. As if they have DJ Moore there.
Yeah, no, I think it. You know what? DJ Moore came alive probably the last quarter of the season. I mean, he showed some life there. So there's a few players. I mean, I don't. I mean, I like the running backs. I don't love the running backs. The receiving core needs to. I mean, they need to take somebody. I'm not sure who they have projected like for their pick in the mock draft or whatever. But I'd go after either trade down. If they're not going to take Will Levis or a quarterback or Stroud or one of those guys, I'd trade down and get a quarterback and maybe go get a pass rusher or not a receiver. Because they need somebody. I mean, are you really going to depend? Are you really going to depend on DJ Moore for a whole season? No. It's not going to happen. He can't. He's shown flashes, but he's not. I think DJ Moore would be a solid high end number 2. I think in a perfect situation, if you can go out and you can get Addison. Or a level of one of those guys in the draft that's on that level that could potentially be a number 1 receiver. I think you consider it because Carolina's got potential, and I like the coach and maybe he can fix Darnold. I don't know. We saw what happened with Geno Smith this year. I mean, not all these reclamation projects, not all these guys are dead to rights. You know what I mean? You can maybe he can turn Sam Darnold into a Pro Bowler. Who knows? Maybe just the right coaching. I don't know. Sam Darnold's got a lot. I mean, he's kind of he's turnover prone, but he's got a lot of this. He was a top 5 pick for a reason. I mean, he's got
most definitely.
A lot of he's got the size, arm. He's got all that good stuff, athleticism. So we'll see what happens there.
I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind Darnold much. I don't mind Darnold. I mean, he's big. He's big, and he's got a good arm on him. So I mean, I don't see why they would. They would probably keep him. I'm sure, more than likely. I'm just going to say real quick that DJ Moore, he was actually under 1,000 yards this year. He had 888 yards. So compared to his So he was under 1,000 yards the first time, in about, like his last 3 years, he had three 1,000 yards receiving. But the only thing to uptick is touchdowns. He had 7 compared to 4.
Yeah,
Miraculously.
yeah.
That's
Go figure. There's no they add a 17th game. You'd assume every number one receiver in the league can get to at least 1,000 yards because of the 17th
yeah.
game. I mean, that's pathetic. That's pathetic when your number one receiver can't crack 900 yards. But at the end of the day, like I said, he's not a number one receiver. He's a number two. They go get a number one, whether it's trading for or you know what? Hey, maybe because they were talking about the Packers maybe signing him, but why not go get an underrated signing like Adam Thielen from the Vikings? I heard he's.
Oh yeah.
Why can't you go get Adam Thielen to be probably your number at this point in his career, probably a number 3. So DJ Moore, Adam Thielen, draft somebody, then you have a respectable receiving core. Then you've got
definitely
decent backs, respectable receiving core, still got the good defense. Things to be looking up in Carolina. I can't say the same. I can't say the same for your Dallas Cowboys. I don't like firing Kellen Moore. I don't know what that. Come on now. What do you think? What do you think?
I'm kind of happy we fired him. Yeah, I just.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yes. I just in all, I just think that their offense was good, but seemed like it was still lacking. It just seemed like they there was things that they could have done that could have. I mean, yeah, they put up maybe 30 some points. I mean, there were some games like that whole Jaguars game. We should have just beaten them, but no. So I mean, that goes to show that there's games that we should have actually won and lost, and then there's other games that we end up just winning, and it's just like, come on now. I don't know. I just think there's just more to our offense than what Kellen Moore was doing with our offense. That's just my opinion.
I think what I think it's the quarterback. I really do. I've been a Dak defender. I don't know if I'm a supporter, but I've been a defender of his for years because I'm like, well, he's consistent and he always gets them either near the playoffs or into the playoffs. I mean, Dak doesn't really shit the bed. They don't have any like 4 or 5 win seasons with him, or will they probably ever? But it's just I think there's a ceiling. I think you're going to see how good Kellen Moore is because he got brought on by the Chargers. I think you're going to see how good of an offensive mind Kellen Moore has when he's working with Justin Herbert here. I think this is going to be Herbert's breakout season where he finally gets up. He gets the wins and he gets the stats to back up all the hype. Where he's up there with Burrow and Mahomes and all those guys he's compared to. He's finally going to be at that level. I like Kellen Moore. I thought he should have been the coach in waiting, but I guess Dallas didn't feel the same way, and they I think Mike McCarthy's taken over the play calling from what I was reading. So
from what it sounds like. Me.
I don't know. You guys. I mean, you guys were this close to making the NFC title game, so I mean, you're not that far off, but.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, as much as I hate Dak, we're stuck with him for about another 2 years. I mean, yeah, I wish we could have, I mean, maybe if maybe things shit the bed, maybe we can try to draft, maybe if things are bad, hopefully maybe we just shit the bed and we can get a Drake Mays for Dallas next year or something like that. One of those two things, and have him as a predecessor to Dak and then ship Dak on out of here. I mean, I like Dak to a point. If he puts up good, I mean, he's good when he wants to be, and then he just shits the bed, So I mean, though it was in 2019, he was the number 2 quarterback, 400 some odd points in fantasy, and then in 2020 he gets injured, broke his ankle, comes back, he was number 8 quarterback. He put up another 400 some odd fantasy points in 2021, and this year. Pretty much the 18th quarterback, 259 odd points. So I mean, that's almost like 200 points some less than what he's normally doing.
And to elaborate on that point a little bit, when I do my my quarterbacks here in a little bit, he's not even going to be in my top 16 fantasy quarterbacks. Could you? I mean, everybody's got their opinions about Dak, but could you have imagined that he would never be in the top half of the fantasy quarter, especially with what he was doing a few years ago? I mean, before he got hurt, dude, I forget if it was 2019 or 2020. I mean, he was in the MVP conversation. He was going to throw 5,000 yards and probably 40 touchdowns. I mean, he's going to have a monster season.
Yep, that was 19.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, at one point, I mean, Dak was ready to break through the ceiling and become a top 10, if not top 5 fantasy quarterback. So, but it just never happened. So, no. I mean, Drake May. We're year and a half away from that, but Drake May, he's the next in line. Like, you want your 10, 15-year guy to compete with Mahomes, compete with Burrow, compete with Allen. That's the next guy coming up. I don't know if Stroud or Bryce Young will be on that level. Any of these guys, Levis, any of these guys will be at at that kind of generational talent level, like Lawrence and Burrow and those guys. But I think the next one is Drake May. So I mean, yeah, you just got to hit it right. I mean, if you're going to tank next year, they got, like Eric said, they got solid. They're just a solid team all around. I wouldn't blow it. That's why I mean, like, I would have run it back one more year with Kellen Moore. I'll be honest, but I mean, changes need to be made. That's fine. I get it. It's the NFL, but I would have run it back one more time. And because I think Zeke is either going to be cut or retire. If not this year, definitely 2024. I think he'll be done. So, and then CeeDee Lamb, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay some guys on the defense. So, yeah, that's coming up. I think you should have run it back another time. And who knows? Who knows what happens next year, especially with all the injuries and everything that's going on in San Francisco and the Rams and all the good teams. I should normally, but
most definitely.
There was a lot of a few other ones. Vic Fangio was hired as the Dolphins D coordinator. I know he was kind of a mediocre to bad head coach, but Vic Fangio has always had good defenses. So if you've got if you're in a league that's got defensive players next year, I can see Dolphins players benefiting from that or having their defense. I could easily see the Dolphins being a top 10 defense next year. Because they've kind of been in that mid pack for a while. With Vic Fangio, he's probably a top 5 defensive coordinator. So yeah, if you're able to kind of preview the 2023 draft, which for a lot of people isn't until August, but Miami's defense will definitely be in the top 10 or should be. With him running that. So there's a bunch of coaching moves. It was so exciting. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, just like you're mentioning with like the wide receiver core with Carolina, just look at the Dolphins. They had 2 guys. Me and Donovan were kind of talking about this a little bit, and I was going to look back too, but I forgot. But they had 2 wide receivers in the top 15 with 1,000 yards each. So I mean, and they'd even they made the playoffs, or missed out in the playoffs. But just think of that potential. They had 2 guys that were 1,000 yards without their star quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think Gesicki's going to be a big loss. I know Gesicki's he'll be a free agent. That Sherfield kid or Sherfeld, or I'm trying to think of his name, number 14 for the Dolphins, but he was a good, he came on as a good number 3.
Yeah.
And when you don't need to be great when you've got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. I mean, you have the fastest, probably the best receiving duo in the league. And if they if Tua can't stay healthy, hey, you try to get Brady. If he's going to come back for another year, you go after Jimmy G or David or Derek Carr or whoever, a guy at that level to kind of off. If Tua, I think regardless, you got to have a better backup than what they've had. Skylar Thompson, Teddy Bridgewater, you got to have somebody better. You got to have somebody better. If Tua's going to have an injury history, you got to get somebody in there.
Yeah, most definitely. Oh, well, you wanted to kind of recap. You wanted to recap this, so I saw a little bit of. I seen a little bit of it. It was actually a good game. I was rooting for the Bengals. The Bengals, they should have won, but right at the end, a costly freaking penalty, just boom, done over with.
Yeah, he was dumb. Mahomes was giving him up. He was going out of balance. It would have been either a Hail Mary or a long field goal. And Butker's not. I mean, he's good. He ain't Justin Tucker good. You know what I mean? So I mean that could have easily went to overtime. And with Joe Burrow, I like my chances. So I can't excuse that. It was a stupid play. I'm surprised. Like I turned away from the game. I was watching the first half. I thought Kansas City would handle things, and lo and behold, it was 20-20 late and turned it on. So dude, I wouldn't overreact because it's like last year with Buffalo. It's like they didn't blow up the team because they lost to Patrick Mahomes at the last second. These things just happen. These three teams are going to be doing round robin, maybe with the Jags too, and Chargers. Yeah. Maybe those 5 teams will be doing round robin for the next 5-10 years, where it's like, okay, it's going to be a Chargers Chiefs AFC title. It's going to be a Bills Bengals AFC title. It's going to be a Jaguars. They're just going to be doing round robin here. So I wouldn't overreact if I'm the Bengals. It's a tough loss. I know their fans have been craving a championship. But Patrick, what else can you say about Patrick Mahomes, dude? 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years.
Yep, it's crazy. I mean,
the guy's 17 when he was a rookie. He was on the bench for Alex Smith. But I mean, other than that, the 5 years he started, all 5 years they've hosted the AFC Championship game. Not only have they been in the AFC Championship game, but they've hosted it. I mean, that's good. That's good for the Kansas City economy. That's good for the team. I mean, just I can't put it into words, man. I think it'll be another hot take, man. We'll have to talk about it another time. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes is he's moving himself up the all-time list. It's only been 5 years of this, but he keeps this up for another couple of years. He'll be the GOAT. I mean, this guy is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he is too. I mean, why do you think they signed him to a 10-year contract? I mean, just look at the things that he's doing.
Yeah, I will too. I give him a lifetime deal for all.
I mean, even though they have crappy wide receivers, look what they're doing with them, though. I mean, you got, they're
MVS. Dude, Packers ran him off. MVS couldn't start over Michael Gallup. I mean, he'd probably be Dallas's number 3 or 4 receiver. And that's an average receiving core. I mean, he's doing this with nobody. Juju, Steelers ran him off because he he wasn't as good as Pickens or Deontay Johnson. Just
Kadarius Toney.
I mean, they're Kadarius Toney, another cast off. Wasn't the Giants ran out of patience with him. Jerick McKinnon, who's been a journeyman back. Jerick had a few 2 TD games. I remember he tore it up in fantasy a couple times. So he's doing this with cast-offs, and then obviously you got the GOAT himself, Travis Kelce. I mean, the guy's the in terms of receiving, not in terms of block. I think Gronk was better overall tight end with blocking and receiving, but in terms of just receiving, Kelce's probably the greatest tight end that's ever lived. So it's basically
most definitely.
Kelce, Mahomes, Andy Reid's mind, and then a good pass rush, and Chiefs already made their money back. Yeah, exactly. For everything he's meant for. I mean, what the hell were the Chiefs doing? I mean, they were competitive, like the Vikings. They were competitive a lot of years, but they didn't break that ceiling. They didn't make a lot of conference title games or Super Bowls or anything like that. For everything he's meant, I would lock Pat Mahomes up for life. No matter if he tears his ACL next year, the year after. These 5 years, what he's meant to them, absolutely lifetime contract.
Yep, I mean, MVS had 116 yards that day and 1 touchdown. So I mean, that just
showed. I mean, you could say it's better play calling from Andy Reid and the boys, but I mean, honestly, there's a whole different level. Even at Rodgers' best, he's not Mahomes. Even 2010, 2011, Aaron Rodgers is not Patrick Mahomes. I don't even know if Brady in 2007 Brady is at this level. I mean, the level Mahomes is playing out right now is like maybe the best. With what he's working with, and he's on a bum wheel. He's out there hobbling around. I mean, just gritty. He's just gritty, talented. I'm developing a man crush here.
No, I'm sure you are. Just
The only thing
just
red
to
I
think
had.
about.
It's a red sweater. It's the only thing red I had. But I had to show my
But
love for Kansas City.
yeah, I mean, just overall, I mean, I think Burrow, he's going to be in that conversation too. Burrow's going to be in that conversation too. With Burrow just being in there, just a couple seasons now. I mean, just look what he's doing with Cincinnati. I mean, yeah, they have three guys that are amazing: Chase, Higgins, and Boyd. And they're like, they got Mixon back there. I mean, their offensive line is great. You know, Higgins and Chase
Well, they
were
were
kind of the main. They're the main guys. They were
well,
the main.
they were
They're the main guys.
well, they were dinged up on, and I think that hurt them too. They were dinged up on the offensive line a little bit, Jay.
Yeah.
I think if they had been fully healthy, they would have beat the Chiefs. I think the Bengals would be hoisting the Lombardi. I wouldn't like we were saying a few minutes ago. Don't overreact. Run this back because next year it could be the Bengals or the Bills. If I'm the Bills, I don't overreact either. I don't fire Sean McDermott. I don't overreact. If I'm the Bengals, I don't pull a bunch of offseason moves. This team was good enough to win the Super Bowl. You just caught a Patrick Mahomes. You caught Patrick Mahomes on the wrong day.
Yeah,
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, and it's disappointing to see how everybody wanted the Bills to win. Cincinnati coming in. I was telling Donovan this too, and for the Bengals to come in on a snowy day to come in and just rock the Bills. I mean, that's saying something. And Diggs being superly mad over what it's just like the Bills couldn't do anything. It's like, what the hell, dude? In my eyes, it's like the Bills should have been the ones, playing the Kansas City right now. Should have been a Kansas City and freaking Bills, championship.
I mean, that would have been great too. I think Buffalo's got a little more work to do. Same with Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville and Buffalo are about the same level in terms of what they need to do to get up to but the Bengals are just as good as the Chiefs. I'll contend. I mean, they got some studs on defense. Hubbard, I like a lot. The guy who shares my name, Eli Apple. It's a great name. He's kind of salvaged his career as a good corner. So
yeah, most definitely.
They got a few players on that side. I think they're just as good as the Chiefs. But I think 2024 is when the Bengals have to start worrying because they're gonna have to start paying these guys. You're gonna have to pay Chase. You have to pay Burrow. So you run it back one more year, kind of with this core, and then I think they're gonna have to start letting guys go or trading people. And I think they'll be back next year. We'll be having this same discussion, maybe with the same two teams. So
more than
NFC.
Likely. Yep. Just quick. Yep. The Bills need a run game, and hopefully, Cooks is that guy. Because I mean,
I like James Cook. I like James Cook. Singletary. We never really. He's kind of.
Yeah. I mean, he's a smaller, shifty guy, but he's. I just think that Cooks is more that let's get her done.
Prototypical. Yep.
So
speaking
I watched some of this.
Oh, go ahead.
I watched some of this game and first half did the show.
I turned it off. I don't know.
Yeah. So I was like, okay,
Garbage.
well, I thought it was going to be a fairly close game. The Eagles looked like they were just like ready just to stomp the Niners, and if Purdy didn't get hurt, that would have been maybe a little bit different story. Everything kind of got out of rhythm there. They had Josh. Yep. Josh Jackson come in. He got concussed, so Purdy had to come back in. So I mean, the only offense they had was CMC and a little.
Christian McCaffrey at quarterback.
I didn't see that. Oh my God!
They had him run. Yeah.
That's insane.
Like I was saying, Eric. Yep, I agree. And they're not going to pay Higgins. They're going to pay your two studs. You pay who the crowd is there to see. They want to see Jamar Chase and Burrow. That's going to be the Andre Reed, Jim Kelly, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison. It's going to be the all-time, like the Mahomes, Kelsey. That's going to be there. So yeah, Chase and Burrow you pay. Everybody else I get rid of. I'm willing to let go because because Higgins is a big target. He's good. But let somebody else overpay for him. In 2024, let
Um,
somebody else. Pay. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
I just think they should keep him. I mean, he's a good talent on the other side, which kind of opens up for
If you
Chase.
can afford it. If you can
Yeah,
afford it.
if they can, and I think they might be able to. I think Higgins is he's in a good spot because I drafted Higgins. He had over 1,000 yards this season. Chase was a little bit under, pretty close, but I mean Higgins was the main guy while Chase was out.
Yeah, I think on maybe probably at least 10. At least 10 of the definitely in Houston. I mean, T. Higgins signs with the Texans. He'd be their number one guy day one. I think at least 10 teams, T. Higgins would be the number one guy. So they've got two. It's like Dolphins and Bengals 1-1A in terms of like the best receiving duos. Higgins and Chase aren't if they're not right at that level with Waddle and the Cheetah. They're close. So to elaborate on that. But to finish up, because this is garbage, I don't even want to talk about the Eagles and 49ers. This was trash. Brock Purdy, he's what a nice, cute little run. I'm a Bucs fan. I remember '99 with Sean King. Okay, he was an undrafted rookie too. Took us to the NFC title game, and he had a couple year run with us, but it was very mediocre. We never got any good. So there's a reason why Brock Purdy was a 7th round pick. He's small, fragile, and he can't make all the throws. He's got a lot of moxie and grit and intangibles, I should say, kind of like Dak, kind of like a poor man's Dak. He's got a lot of the stuff you look for in a leader. He just doesn't have the Burrow goods, the Lawrence goods, the Mahomes goods that you need to compete with these kind of teams. And Jalen Hurts, I mean, I don't know if Chad's around, but dude, I didn't see this coming. I traded him in the fantasy league, the 16 man that Jamie does, and Chad's in the league too. And I didn't see this happening. I traded Jalen Hurts after week 2 in a package because I didn't see this coming. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. We'll talk about Super Bowl here in a second, but Jalen Hurts is just, the grit, the skill, just how they're blowing teams out. I don't think the Eagles have a weakness. The Giants are respectable. They made them look bad. The 49ers have been the last probably 2 months of the season, probably the best team in the league, made them look bad.
Yeah.
This Eagles team, they're steamrolling people. This Eagles team is just great. And Miles Sanders, very underrated running back. Like if they have to get rid of him, I would love him in Tampa. I'd take Miles Sanders in a heartbeat. If we move off Lenny and create the space, I'd sign Miles Sanders in a heartbeat.
Oh, they have they have 2 good running backs. They got Brandon Scott and Gainwell back there too. So it's
Scott's a nice backup, absolutely.
Yeah, so not like they would lose anything if they did get off on Sanders. So
yeah,
but
Gainwell's good too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Super Bowl!
Yes. Well,
dude, it's coming. It's coming. Is it 57? Is it 5-7? Hell yeah, it is.
I haven't even looked at what the overall score or over under on this is because I'm sure it's going to change, in a couple weeks here and whatnot, So it's, I don't know. It's
you got to take that off work. You got to take that off work. You can't you gotta tell the boss man, hey, I need that off because there's a good chance I'll be coming up there for Super Bowl because I have a few days of PTO. Yeah, dude, I got a few days of PTO. I'll probably be taking early that week. So yeah, so I'll probably be up. So yeah, dude, we gotta or at least go in late, like have hey, maybe start.
I usually
9:30.
Yeah, what I usually do, I usually watch most of the first half of the game, get a little grub in, have a drink in, and then I end up going to work, unfortunately. So I usually catch the second half later, So I get a little taste of the Super Bowl before I have to go to work, and it's like no, but
you put the tip in, and then you don't fully penetrate the Super Bowl.
Oh, good God. I know it. This is going to be an interesting game because, you got Casey, you got the Eagles, you got Mahomes with tons of mini weapons, and you got the Eagles with, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, So I mean, you got Ertz, and freaking Kelsey. So this is kind of a unique matchup because you got both Kelseys going against each other. So it's Andy Reid, facing his old team. So this is quite huge.
I think both quarterbacks are beat up a little bit. We'll see if they're fully healthy, in a week and a half from now. I'm not gonna. I've slept on Jalen Hurts the last 2 years. I'm not sleeping on him anymore. I'm not. I'm all in. I'm all in on Jalen Hurts. This is. I think the Eagles are the favorite. They probably will be when the line comes out. If it isn't out already. I think the Eagles will be the favorite. Probably about 3 points. Kansas City, their trump card is Mahomes. It always will be. I think the Bengals probably had at least as good, if not a better roster, beat them. And the same thing with the Eagles. Eagles are even better. So if anything can trump that, it's Mahomes. He's the Michael Jordan. He's the difference maker. But in terms of a matchup, Kansas City, I think that where it is Kansas City's pass rush against that Philly offensive line. That Philly offensive line is great. And how you stop the boys, how you stop Gainwell, how you stop Scott, how you stop Sanders, how you stop Jalen from doing his thing. I mean, Jalen's you get inside the 5-yard line, he's a bull. I mean, yeah. Jalen, he can squat like 600 pounds. I mean, the guy for a quarterback, this guy's an animal.
Yeah,
you see it. They just push it. They get inside that 5, and it's an automatic touchdown every time because they just steamroll it right in there with Jalen. So if they can move the ball down the field, which I think they will, Kansas City's defense, they're not terrible, but they're not, they're mid-pack. But it's gonna be an uphill climb. And how do you stop AJ Brown and Devontae Smith? I mean, Devontae Smith to a lesser extent, but I mean, this is why they made that trade, why they paid him $25 million. AJ Brown is the difference maker. I think Philly wins this game, honestly. But yeah, I think a lot comes down to if Kansas City can get pressure on Hurts and what AJ Brown does. I think AJ Brown in his Super Bowl debut, I think he's going to have at least a touchdown, at least 100 yards. I don't know what you think, but I think if you want my early prediction, Jay, I'm thinking Philly 34, Kansas City 20.
Yeah, I'm pretty close there, but not quite. I think it's going to be more of a 27-25 kind of game, just because, okay. I mean, so I think this is going to be more of a closer game. It's not, I don't think this is going to be no blowout, because, if it really comes down to it, I just think Mahomes is the better quarterback over Hurts, because, if it really comes down to, if it comes down to a lot of these pressure, down to when it gets to the nitty gritty, Mahomes is going to be the guy, so I just think it's going to be a fairly close game. It's not going to be no huge blowout for sure. And I think it's going to, the first half is probably not going to be, there might be a couple scores in there just because they're trying to feel each other out, and that's very typical. There might be a couple scores in there, maybe a running back, wide receiver, one of those two. But overall, I just think, with them, getting, Juju's got to get healthy, and that's going to be huge there. So if Juju can get healthy, that's going to be one good weapon for them down, for the Super Bowl, which, they need a tall guy like him. They got the little short medium passes to MVS, and, they got Payalko, and then they got a Sky Moore up in there too. So they have, I think they just have a few more odd weapons compared to the Eagles, so that's just me though.
And there's the Andy Reid factor. I mean, they did him dirty. Whatever it was, 10, 12 years ago, whatever that was. He was the Eagles coach for a long time, did a great job there. And so maybe you could argue, hey, Andy Reid has a little vendetta. He's like, you know what? You guys let me go. Now I'm claiming my second world championship with the Chiefs. You could have had this. It's like your ex-girlfriend losing 50 pounds. You're like, damn, you look good now. Maybe I should have let you go. Jay thinks it's gonna be a close game. I think the Eagles are just too much. As good as Kansas City is, this Eagles team is. I didn't know how, honestly, because of what happened like towards the end of the season, where injuries and Jalen, and I didn't know how good they were. But these last two games, they've convinced me. I'm all in on the Eagles. They're great.
I know.
Absolutely.
I've heard the Eagles had a better lousy kind of a downgraded schedule for them to be as good as they are.
You could argue that, but when you
Hey, I'm just saying
steamroll the
what's out there.
49ers, oh no. I just think when you steamroll the 49ers as good as they've been the last couple months, and they were, damn near, I know Purdy was injured a little bit in the game, but I mean, they were pretty much fully healthy.
Yep.
I mean, they throttled them. So,
yep.
But yeah, well, is it time? Is it time to talk a little bit of quarterbacks? You know what? Everybody's putting their previews out. Everybody's or reviews or whatever. Everybody's got their opinions on who. I've got my opinions too. Donovan has his. Jamie has his. You know what? And it's been a while, and I moved it because it was on my wall before. But as you can see, I've moved across town here. I got the light here. Can't find the shades exactly, but we're still in hell. It's still a red light district here. And you know what? We're gonna do a little. We're gonna do a little Eli's fantasy quarterbacks after the 2022 season because we only got one game left. And all you fantasy guys, whatever you can do your DFS stuff for the Super Bowl. That's cute. Whatever. Patrick Mahomes, who we got to stop with this nonsense. Me and Jamie were talking about this last week about how these experts, how they're like, oh, you're taking quarterback in the third round, take quarterback in the fourth. Not this guy. No, not at all. You take Mahomes number one. Jamie learned that this year. You take this. He is the most valuable quarterback in the goddamn league, fantasy and player wise. Okay, You do not mess around. When you have an opportunity to get Patrick Mahomes, I mean, it is damn near guaranteed 3 touchdown, 300 yards every week. Every week. This guy maybe shits the bed one time a year where his mechanics get off and, just it'll be a blip in the screen. It never hurts you in the playoffs. It's some random midseason game. Everything is better in red. You're damn right. Thank you. Got the red sweater, got the red light. There we go.
There you go.
Jalen Hurts, not sleeping on Jalen Hurts ever again. If he stays, the thing is health. A lot of these mobile guys, like we've seen it with Lamar. A couple years ago, Lamar was on this level. Lamar would have been in this top 5 here, but injuries and weird situation with the Ravens have kind of taken him off that list. So, but Jalen, 13 rushing touchdowns, 22 passing touchdowns, 35 total. And if he was healthy, probably would have been at the same level as Mahomes. Mahomes had 44 total and more passing yards. So, I mean, Mahomes, like I said, Mahomes is just on a different level than everybody else. But I got Jalen because Jalen doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't fumble. He only threw 5 picks. I mean, Jalen protects the ball and he gets you rushing yards. Like I said, over 700, 13 touchdowns. Unlike number 3, Josh Allen, he's a turnover machine. The guy is probably the most entertaining. Other than Mahomes, he's the most entertaining quarterback in the league because jumping over defensive linemen and all the big time throws. Just he's a fun guy to watch. And Buffalo is always going to be successful with him, but fantasy wise, he turns the ball over too much for my taste. He's still a top 5 fantasy quarterback and quarterback in general. Joe Burrow, because he doesn't give you the rushing. I mean, these other 3 guys are getting you at least 4 rushing touchdowns. I mean, Burrow, not quite. He's probably between 1 to 3 a season. He's not quite as mobile, and he's not as good of a thrower as Mahomes is. So he's great too, but he's just on that next tier. And Trevor Lawrence, he's coming into his own. I called it. I said that this man would explode this year. It took a little longer than expected. It wasn't until the second half of the year. But, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is there. Cat's out of the bag. This guy is great. And going forward, the Jags will be in this Bengals, Bills, Chiefs conversation. Should be every year. I love Doug Peterson, the coach. They got Calvin Ridley. Did I mention that? Did I mention they got Calvin Ridley? He's coming back next year.
Yes, yeah, he is.
I know how much Jay loves Calvin Ridley. I do too. I think that was the most underrated trade of the year. I mean, how that didn't get more pub, I don't know, but Trevor Lawrence, absolutely top 5. You know what?
Yeah,
guys, Go ahead, Jeff.
just quick on on Trevor Lawrence that he had 3,600 yards last year, but he put up another he put up 4,100 this year. So you can see a lot. It's almost a 600, 700 ish difference in what he did from previous year to what he did this year. He actually had 17 interceptions in his rookie year, and then he was down to 8 this year, which is actually stout. 25 touchdowns to 12. That's huge.
It's amazing. Hey, it's amazing what good coaching will do. Urban Meyer should just hand in his clipboard for the rest of his life. He's terrible. I mean, I don't care what he did at Ohio State and Florida, college. He was probably the worst NFL coach that's ever existed.
Yeah,
he might be worse than he's probably worse than Hackett. This guy was just atrocious. How you screwed up Trevor Lawrence. And it helped to have Travis Etienne. It helped to have Travis Etienne for a full season as well.
Yeah,
I mean, he'll be next year. Next year he's going to be. I think he's going to be a top 5 back. I think Etienne because for the first couple games, James Robinson was the guy. I think with a full slate, full season, Etienne is. I don't know if he's going to be all pro, but he's definitely be a Pro Bowl level running back next season. Love the Jags. 6 through 10. And then this is all having to do with his rushing. I don't like him, as my franchise quarterback. Honestly, I don't think he's going to win a Super Bowl, especially with what they put around him. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. But, I mean, you can't deny the guy went over 1,100 yards rushing. I mean, it's basically having a running back in the backfield that can also throw. So, Justin Fields, you got to put at 6. I think Lamar is going to come back healthy. And I think, you know what? I think he might be in Tampa. He's a Florida boy. He's from Miami. He went to Louisville for college. But, if Baltimore is going to dick around with his contract and he's got anything left, I don't know if he's going to be the Lamar from 2019, 2020, but he's got any of that left. If I'm the Bucs, I lock him up. I take a chance. I mean, it can't be any worse than Kyle Trask. You know what I mean? I think Lamar will be back next year healthy, doing his thing. Justin Herbert.
Definitely.
I think Herbert's going to benefit from Kellen Moore. Herbert might move up to 6, honestly. But he didn't give me any. He didn't give me any rushing touchdowns this year. That's my one issue with Justin Herbert. Gave me no rushing touchdowns.
He usually gets a couple in there for you, here and there.
Yeah, I think his rookie year in 2021, he got a couple. This year, nothing. So maybe with a better offensive play caller next year, maybe he'll be 4 or 5. Maybe they'll use that 6'6" frame, especially like they do with Jalen, like they do in the anything within the 5 yard, anything in the red zone 5 yard line, rushing in with Herbert get a couple cheap fantasy touchdowns. Kyler Murray, he'll be. I'll see who they hire as the coach, but. Yeah, it's hard because the potential's there. He's the one guy that could easily fall out of this top 16. I'll be honest. He's the one guy in this that I'm talking about for the next 16. I could easily see falling out, but it's more or less he's not Fields, he's not Jalen, he's not Lamar, but he still gives you the rushing yards, and he's still capable. Because I saw it, I had him on 2 teams this year. He's still. Can bust out a 35-point PPR day. So he's got that potential. So I'll give him his respect. I'll put him at 9. Geno Smith at 10. I'll see if he can sustain that next year. I think Seattle's going to re-sign him as they should. Kind of keep the O coordinator, keep everything intact, run it back next year. See what they do with Tyler Lockett. See if they re-sign him. If not, he'd be a good addition to Carolina. So, speaking of Adam Thielen and Tyler Lockett, Carolina, Frank Reich should be looking into him. I like a full season of Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker is another one of these guys like Etienne. I think is going to explode. I think he's a future top 5 back.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll probably end up being, he'll be a first or second rounder more than likely. It just depends too. We haven't gotten to the running back ranking parts yet, so that part's gonna be that's gonna be up and down for me. That's gonna be a little bit of a challenge too, because we're doing the quarterback stuff right now, and probably in the next couple of shows we'll when we kind of get to the totals with QBs, we'll probably toss Eli's, his rankings up in there with Donovan's and I's. So when we do that next show coming up, but the running backs is going to be that's going to be a
That'll be
hard
fun.
one because yes,
That,
fun
that'll
and
be that'll be fun. We'll see what we come up with, and a lot of this stuff too is me projecting for 2023. So,
yeah.
I had a guy, he didn't quite crack the top 16, but I brought up CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud will be in that top 20. I had him about 18, and he's kind of my honorable mention.
I think
guy,
it was I think you had him 17. Let me double check. I don't remember because I know he was.
It was somewhere in there, but
18. Yeah.
Yep. But
Yep.
I'm projecting for what these guys. It's because right now, obviously Lamar's hurt, Kyler Murray's hurt. But I'm projecting for next year, like going into the 2023 season, based on the information we have. And Geno Geno doesn't turn the ball over. Had 29 touchdowns. Can do. He's mobile a little bit. More of a pocket guy, which I like. He's not going to get hurt. Geno's not going to get hurt.
Yeah,
and he's going to put up
definitely.
passing yards and touchdowns. I like that, especially if I'm drafting a quarterback high. And then these are like the next tier. These are, so these guys are all. I stop at 16 because there's 32 teams. These to me are the upper half of the fantasy quarterbacks. Danny Dimes, not a fan. Daniel Jones, I ripped on him for years. I'll eat it. I didn't, but I also didn't see Brian Daboll coming. I didn't know that they were going to hire Brian Daboll from the Bills and how much of a difference he's made. But Danny Dimes, you can't deny it. With the rushing ability, he's not, like I said, he's not Jalen, he's not Lamar, he's not any of those guys. But he's on that next tier of mobile quarterback. He can get you the rushing yards, and if he can keep cleaning up the turnovers, which he cleaned it up this year, cleans it up even more. Maybe he can crack the top 10. And this is fantasy. If we, it's a difference between a guy, franchise guy I'm paying 40, 45 mil to, or a fantasy guy. Kirk Cousins, damn good fantasy quarterback. Doesn't turn the ball over much. Always puts up about the same amount. Somewhere 28 touchdowns. That sounds about right for what Kirk usually does, and over 4,000 yards passing. Kirk's solid. Jared Goff is like a poor man's Cousins. Kind of does the same thing. I like how Goff rebounded, and with that Lions offense going forward, that's going to benefit him. I don't think he's the 13th best quarterback. I think he's maybe more in like 17 or 18. But with the weapons the Lions are going to put around him, that's only going to enhance Jared Goff. Aaron Rodgers for the time being.
I was just going to say
for the time being, Rodgers. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, I was just gonna say with you talking about Cousins, he's been in going back to 2015, he was in the top, he was a top 10, top 5, top 6, and he kind of leveled off between 18 to 21. He was 13th, 19th, 11th, and then this last year he was top 6. So overall, he's getting you an average of almost 29 to 30 some odd touchdowns. He's putting up touchdowns. His interceptions, they're a little high because they're 11 to 14. So he's a little inaccurate. There's a couple of years he had 6 and 7. So he varies. He's not elite, but he's still he's a good average, decent good B quarterback.
Yeah. I've seen people make deep playoff runs in their fantasy leagues with Kirk Cousins. He's not Mahomes or Burrow or any of these, kind of pocket passers that can do a lot, but he's solid. Same with Jared Goff. Aaron Rodgers for the time being. That's how bad Rodgers looks right now. He doesn't even get his D. We took the D out of Rodgers because he got no D.
Oh, damn. I misspelled that.
That's what he deserves. That's what he deserves. All the shit he's putting the Packers through. That's what he deserves. Rodgers is another guy like Murray. Rodgers is another guy like Murray I could see dropping out of this easily, especially if he's traded to Tennessee or the Jets or all the teams he's rumored to go to. So it's just out of respect. It's the fact the guy's won 2 MVPs and he's still in the top 15 for fantasy. Didn't have turnovers were up this year, but he still puts up the touchdown. Passing yards are atrocious.
Oh
but,
yeah.
Still had a decent amount of touchdowns.
Yeah, he had 12 interceptions this year. I think that's the most. The previous years he's only getting he's had 4, 5, 4, 2. So he's been under double digits of interceptions. So that goes to show how well he's how accurate he is when he does throw the ball. overall, he is an elite. I mean, he is in that elite category. I mean, it's not like he's a fluke or anything like that. But I mean, he's a legit. But I just think he's just too hot headed.
And the drop off here, I don't think people understand, because they see a list and it's like, oh, the drop off from probably the top 8, like probably 7 or 8 quarterbacks, and you can even say Lamar and Justin Fields. The drop off from probably like the six quarterbacks is substantial. I mean, it's a huge drop to this level, because even the gap between like Cousins and Rodgers is pretty big. I mean, Rodgers he's not giving you passing yards anymore. He's turning the ball over, not doing a lot of rushing touchdowns anymore. So he's not giving you much. Brady is old as dirt. See if he comes back next year. It's more of a respect thing. I don't think Tom Brady will be in the top 16. Maybe if he's working with the 49ers, I don't know. Maybe he's working some of the weapons they have, Debo and George Kittle and stuff. But and then Tua, we'll see if he stays healthy. And that's just with the assumption he's working with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. It's hard to not put up fantasy numbers if you're healthy with those two guys. I mean, probably the best receiving duo in the league. So those are my top 16.
Yeah.
Honorable mention: C.J. Stroud, the rookie coming in. I don't know if Colts are going to take him, Texans are going to take him, Panthers. See where he ends up. I'd love if he ended up with the Panthers working with Frank Reich. I think that'd be damn good for him and his skill set. And Dak too. Dak he's in line with Cousins and probably to a lesser extent, but he's in that same kind of boat. I guess some of these guys are interchangeable. Goff, Dak, and a lot of other guys behind that are just they're barely starting guys.
Yeah, I was just looking here quick at it because you actually have Mac Jones ahead of Dak. I was looking at because
Mac Jones. Don't sleep on Mac Jones. He had a down year, but don't sleep on Mac Jones. They hired Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator. Bill O'Brien was the guy that used to work with Brady. When they when they had things rolling about 10 years ago. Bill O'Brien was the guy, and then he got the Texans job. He was a damn good coach with the Texans. Like, he knows offense. And if anybody could salvage Mac Jones and fix him, and look what he was working with this year. No weapons, had a fucking defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, calling his plays. Belichick calling his plays. What does Belichick know about offense? So I wouldn't sleep on Mac Jones. To me, he's got the most upside of any guy you could get like later rounds in the draft or maybe undrafted. Kind of somebody everybody's sleeping on right now. Mac Jones is the guy. I'm high on Mac Jones going into next year because of that hire. If it had stayed the same, it's just trolling. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. No more for you, Donovan.
So I mean, this was Eli. With you talking about Mac or Jones, I actually had him 11th, just in the AFC. I had him in 11th. Eli did kind of more of the broad perspective of combining everything. So me and Donovan, we just did more of just the AFC. But in the AFC side of things, I had him 11th. I have Mac Jones 11th. A little bit under Pickett, but I just think Mac Jones was a little bit better than Pickett. With the rest of these guys down there, Mills, Wilson. That'll probably change. The Colts will probably change too. You can just see where I rank those. Wilson, he's actually got I just think Wilson, he's got talent there, but he's got to get his head out of his ass and actually play football. He's got the talent around him. He's got the running backs. He's got the wide receivers up there. Mills was the same thing. They might change him or maybe keep him. Because they're up there. So it's either probably gonna be a C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or whatever, so that's probably going to change there. But just overall, Mac Jones he's my 11th, just in AFC ranking wise.
No, and we're just, Jamie, and we're just going off of the information that we had. So obviously, I think Mac Jones and Pickett will be starting with their teams next year. Obviously, young quarterbacks, franchise guys. The other 4 guys, I don't think we're ever going to see Sam Ehlinger on a list again. I don't think we're ever going to see Jarrett Stidham on a list. I don't think Zach Wilson's ever going to be on a list. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be with the Jets. I think the Texans are going to take Bryce Young. I think the Colts are going to take C.J. Stroud. And I think the Raiders are going to go for a veteran, whether that's Ryan Tannehill or try to get Brady, somebody like
Yeah.
that. The Raiders
Yeah.
aren't gonna go into next year with Sid. I mean, that's a good way to go 2-15, especially with that division with the Broncos having Sean Payton now, with the Chargers actually having a good offensive line
Yeah.
with Patrick Mahomes. That's 6 losses right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go 2-15 Raiders and tank for Dre May, I mean, by all means, go right ahead. But
Yeah.
this list here. Oh,
Yeah.
Deshaun.
So these are my kind of yeah. That's my feeling right as of right now, and this might change too. So I mean, this is from what I did on Sunday. I just think that Lamar's in my top 5. Watson's pretty close. See, these two guys are pretty well similar in my eyes. I mean, Lamar's more of the offense. They don't have crap there for wide receivers. That's the way I see it. I mean, so he's gonna be running the ball. I mean, Watson, he's got talent there. I just think Lamar is just a little bit better than Watson at this moment.
I'm surprised at at how low you are Trevor Lawrence. I'll be honest. Like I think the world of this kid. I'm like well, this guy's the second.
Yeah. Well, see, this is not overall rankings. This is my AFC overall rankings. So this is the way I kind of see it. I think Tua's a little bit better. I mean, Tua's got he's got the better offense. He's got weapons around him. Lawrence is Tua's been there for a while. Lawrence is kind of coming into himself. So I mean, these might change too a little bit, but as of right now, this is kind of where I see everything. Wilson, that actually might go up. He might be 9 now. Tannehill might be 10. Just with that with that whole Peyton signing and whatnot. So I just think that's going to be a little bit different there.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see if Tannehill is even, if he's even starting next year. He might be Marcus Mariota. I mean, he might be a stopgap quarterback for somebody. Maybe the Raiders. Maybe the Raiders. Maybe they're tanking for Drake, like we were talking about. Some of these guys. You're kind of thinking what I'm thinking about Lamar. He's going to come back healthy. This was just a weird year, and if he ends up with another team, Tampa Bay, tear it up.
For sure.
Burrow and Allen. I mean that's your opinion. I think with like fantasy wise, I'd take Allen over Burrow, just with like the rushing. But I mean they're very similar. I think Mahomes the clear one. Burrow and Allen are that next level. I think Herbert and Jackson. Lamar doesn't have the throwing ability of Herbert, obviously, but with the rushing, they kind of offset. So it's kind of like 1, 2 are equal, 2 are equal, kind of thing. So they're all kind of interchangeable. So that's a good list. Top 5.
Well, Allen had 482 fantasy points, and then Burrow, he actually had himself. I'll tell you here just a second. He had 444. So I mean, a little bit down, but I mean, these both. I mean, to me, I just think with Burrow beating Allen, I just think that Burrow's, just a notch up. It's just that he's got that offensive line. They're more of a balanced team. The Buffalo Bills are just kind of, they don't know what they're doing right now. That's why I'm just like, I got Burrow ahead of Allen in the AFC rankings.
Yeah, I could see that point. Until they get an offensive mind, they should have hired Kellen Moore. The hell, Buffalo took a big step back offensively this year. Pissed off Diggs. I mean, Josh Allen's had more turnovers than he's had probably since his rookie year, 2019, 2018.
Yeah.
So they need to fix that offense. I mean, if you're gonna compete with the Chiefs and Eagles, these high end teams, you got to get that offense right. But I like that. Yeah, I like the top 5 for sure. I disagree with. But I think Lawrence should be 6. But no, that's why we make these lists. It's good debate. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did an overall ranking. Mine was just an AFC ranking, just so that everybody knows. I mean, it's just let's go back here real quick. Here's Eli's recap real quick. Eli's got Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, Burrow, and Lawrence at number 5. Then he's got Fields at 6, Jackson at 7. He's got Herbert at 8. He's got Kyle Murray at number 9. And he's got Geno Smith at 10. And in his 11 through 16, he's got Daniel Jones at 11, Cousins at 12, Goff at 13, Rodgers at 14. And he's got Brady at 15 and Tua at 16. So that was kind of a
Right.
recap of Eli's overall rankings. So
Rodgers
yeah.
minus the D. He doesn't get no D. He probably likes the D, but he gets no D.
Yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, everyone. I mean, I hope you enjoyed Eli and his presence here tonight. I'm glad. I'm glad that Eli was able to have some time for us tonight, and
Grace
you're
with
actually
my presence.
yes, that's for damn sure. But yeah, Eli, for everybody who's commenting and was actually here tonight, I appreciate everyone who actually took the time to come join us tonight. You know, so I'm happy. You know, so yes.
Won't you be my neighbor?
I guess I could. I
Oh,
guess I didn't even see. What's that?
I was gonna say real quick before we get out of here. I put on the scroll at the bottom. I'm kind of throwing some lesser positions out there. You know, everybody knows who the quarterbacks are. You know, they know about Levis and Bryce Young and those kind of guys. So I'm going to be putting up my top 5 positions for like prospects. So I put the top 5 running back who I feel the top 5 running backs of this 2023 class. And so like in successive shows coming up, probably leading up to the draft in April, I'll probably have a little section at the bottom every time. So I'll have like top 5 tight ends. Michael Maher from Notre Dame, he's probably the number one. So maybe tight ends will be next, or maybe I'll do like guards. Just kind of lesser known position. Because everybody knows the quarterbacks, but so I'll do like top five defensive end. My view of it. So I'll always be a little space at the bottom. Oh, thanks, Eric, man. It's been a minute, guys. Had to move out, and I need a boot in my ass from my man here, and he did that, and we're back on track for sure. Like I said, for sure Tuesdays. And down the line, maybe you can add a second night again. But yeah, I want to pour my energy. I have other stuff going on. Pour my energy into one night, and we'll put on a damn good show. And maybe I'll make a cameo. If Donovan and Jamie got a show going on and I'm available, I'm always down to come in. At least make comments or jump on the stream as well, and provide my comedy and my
Yes.
I'm told I have some clever tendencies. So, but yeah, no, it's great to be. It's great to be back. It's great to be back. It's great to be back. This delicious Knob Creek rye whiskey. I heard Brock Lesnar is a fan of the rye whiskey. You should be too.
Damn.
Go out and get a bottle. I know. What other endorsement than you need than the Beast Incarnate? We didn't even talk about any wrestling tonight, but it's fine. It's fine. We have other nights to talk about. WrestleMania. Cody and Roman. We have other, we'll get up to other segments. It was a heavy football night with all the coaching carousel going on, and
most
Super Bowl
definitely.
matchup. But yeah, no, we'll definitely get to some Elimination Chamber stuff and some WrestleMania stuff down the line. But this is great. This is great. It's good to get back in the flow of things, buddy. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong.
Yes. But yes, since we're almost getting wrapping up, so don't make sure you guys join our Discord. It's I'll repost a link up in there. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, our Discord needs some more love. It needs more love. It needs some more action up in there. We need more people up in there. It's gonna be an interesting 2023 season. That's for sure. We want people in there commenting, talking about the draft, talking about their dynasty leagues, whatever it might be, redraft, keepers, whatever it might be, IDP. It doesn't matter. I got stuff in there for DFS. If you're a DFS player, I always post some DFS stuff in there myself. So if you're a DFS guy, you like to talk about, well, this guy might not be good for this day. It's always relief. So come on over, join us, have a little fun. And we'll see where things go, that's for sure. But before we get out of here, I'll put the link back in there real quick before the show gets on over with.
Down below.
Oh yes, Donovan. Yes, yes. You are a you'll be our MLB side of things. How's that sound?
Yeah. Dude, it's gonna be a great season of baseball coming up. There's a couple announcements there. Dexter Fowler, I remember him from the Rockies and Cubs. He retired, and there's a few baseball relief pitcher got signed by the Blue Jays there. Put that at the bottom. So we'll always throw a few tidbits of baseball. Obviously, our expert. And we need Chad back too, because you know what, we got Donovan and Chad. They're our baseball experts. They come in and spring training starting soon, a couple weeks, and the season will get into full swing about the 1st of April. So yeah, that's coming up too. But right now it's heavy NFL. Senior Bowl coming up this weekend. So if you're looking for stuff to watch, guys, the Pro Bowl is doing like a flag football game. So you got some pro. If you like the Mannings, Pro Bowl got. What the hell else is there? I don't.
I'm not sure.
Hockey.
I'm not sure.
I'm thinking of the stick in the puck. So we got hockey. See if there's any NBA matchup. Maybe a couple decent NBA matchups. Lakers are a hot story right now. So
I think there's NHL All Stars. I think this weekend too. I think.
I haven't been following the last probably month and a half of the since the holidays. I haven't followed the NHL. I'll have to take a look, but it might be. It might be.
Yep. I just know I just see a notification, or it's 2 weeks of hockey playing the same guy. So I think there's a NHL break in there somewhere. I don't know if it's this week or next week or what. So yeah, there's some hockey out there. I think the All-Star game's somewhere down the line sometime here soon too. So a lot of good stuff. That's for sure. But all right, we are out of rhythm. I'm Jamie, and that's Eli on the other side. We greatly appreciate everybody who actually joined us tonight on our lovely Tuesday night. So we will see you again. I will get with Donovan. So I don't know when our next show is going to be. I think it might be this weekend. Hard saying, but yes, we will see you guys all soon. So we are out of here.
Bye. Bye. Bye.